exactly. I would rather scholarship somebody a bed than have to interact with an insurance company.
Oh, I feel you. That's
Yeah.
I never knew we had that in common.
Some of the best time I ever had was telling these insurance companies where they can stick it. I mean, just
What made you get out
of the insurance companies?
of the rehab business in general?
I just didn't want to do it anymore, man. I knew I had to keep expanding. When you have a business, it has to grow because you have great people working for you that want to continue their growth trajectory. And if you can't provide that for them, they're going to go somewhere else. So I knew I would have to take it to a whole nother level to keep the great staff I had. And I just didn't want to do that.
And so, well, some of them did. That's an interesting thing about the history of LA. When you look at Synanon, which you were around but not in or
Right.
worked at,
Right.
the staff of Synanon went on to create Cry Help and Impact.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and we're going to have a show about Synanon. I'm fascinated by Synanon.
Yeah.
What do you know about it? You got to drink there, right?
I
I just know the rules of a junkie. Like you get passes and you could go to a bar and drink.
It was very
Was there sex? A lot of sex.
founder-oriented, kind of, that guy, Chuck Dieterich.
Oh, it was like a cult?
Yeah, kind of, yeah, I think so. And
But what was it like for the everyday clients? They had like 500 clients, right?
They were afraid.
They were afraid.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up a guy hitchhiking once on Pico, and he was terrified. He was running down the block, and I go, what's going on, man? He goes, I got to get back to Synanon. I got to get back before the curfew.
What happens if you're not back before
I don't know,
curfew?
but it wasn't good, man. This kid was pretty upset.
And so Synanon, for those that don't know, in a nutshell, it was a small little thing, just like Promises, started organically with a bunch of addicts in a house. It grew to be a huge, owned most of the Venice Boardwalk, is what I heard.
It was
And
attack therapy, too, I think.
Yeah, I've seen it now. Delancey Street still does it, kind of.
Do they?
Yeah, they put you in the room and they call you out. Have you ever seen one of those?
No.
It's pretty brutal. But then I was thinking, if I was in that chair, I just would feel nothing. You know what I mean? And so the point is, you're basically taking some hardcore junkies who know how to shut down and trying to hurt their feelings enough.
Right.
I didn't find it very effective. So something about treatment that I went through, it was so much, I'm a part of something, I'm responsible to my peers, I want to get better myself, I have a lot of resistance to getting better. I need somebody to stand by me when I have that resistance to get better. That's not what treatment is anymore.
And you have to be lucky enough to be in a vibrant community with extraordinary people working there. Mm-hmm. Not just the therapists, but the line people.
The techs are the most
people,
important.
the drivers, the people that are going to spend hours with you, talking to you and being role models. In the beginning, everybody I hired was sober at Promises. It was a role model business. And then I started hiring other people who I realized there's some amazingly talented folks who don't have a problem with drugs and alcohol, but for some reason dedicate their lives to working with people.
Yeah, Drew's like that. A lot of people are like that.
Yeah.
But I've always thought line staff is the most important. Who has the most contact with the clients? That's who will influence them.
And they get paid the
most.
least.
They get paid the least. And at this point, it's not even a kind of an aspiring thing. So I was a line staff. I started as a tech.
I did too.
Yeah. But everyone that worked on line staffs with me was going up to higher positions.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a lot of opportunity.
That's not so much a part of it anymore. I try to encourage it a lot, but seems like in Malibu, I don't know if you know, you get paid pretty good money for being a tech. 20 bucks an hour. That's twice as much as you would make working in a restaurant. So it's almost like a career. A tech could be a career.
And also at the same time all this movement happened, the whole internet really took off and internet marketing took off, and that changed treatment a lot too.
That helped you though, accidentally.
Yes and no.
What is it about treatment that made you want to leave, get out? It's either
The
pressure,
the staff, dealing with over 100 people who had needs and wants and problems. that weren't patients that I was paying. They weren't paying me. I was paying them to do a job.
You know what Harold Owens told me when I started working for Buddy Arnold? He goes, Bob, you're never going to have problems with patients. You're going to constantly have problems with staff.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's also the one that told me when the Music Cares merger happened, that I was like, hey, what job am I going to have? And he goes, what job are you going to have? And I was like, well, I'm at MAP. And he goes, you've never worked in a hospital, you've never worked in a treatment center, you're just an addict helping people. And that's when it made me go to school and become a counselor.
But just an addict helping people is the key ingredient.
I know, that's
the magic. That's
all I was in the new structure.
You know, there was a guy named Ken Schonlow. Did you know Ken? He started the Claire Foundation.
Yeah.
And a lot of he's a really quiet guy who got a lot of stuff done. He started Venice Recovery Center, VCR.
Yeah.
And
friend of Gloria's?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He passed away about 5 or 6 years, but he was my mentor in starting the first Sober Living and then Promises. And he was just a great guy, and he was very much of the belief that one addict helping another addict.
That's all I think it is.
Yeah. And you know, you can put a fancy wrapper on it, you can charge a lot of money for it, you can have all these extra little shiny, sparkly things, but when it comes down to it, it's one addict talking to another addict and getting rid of your secrets when you're in treatment. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and money. And that's what a lot of people do. And the people that are in it just for the money and the profit just go for what's going to attract the most people to come in here and pay the most money. And right now, and the last years, it's been, we're not 12-step oriented, we have a cure, it's guaranteed. All three things are just the most devious, deceptive, just
I get it.
toxic
Well, here's the thing.
combination.
I have a lot of friends that have treatment centers that are good, and they can't compete with the devious ones, right? So that's part of my whole platform of Rehab Bob and this whole thing is to get those guys to be able, and gals to be able to compete, to have some platform that speaks for them, the people that are one addict helping. And you know, when you said that, it was so beautiful. Malibu in particular has taken the one addict helps another alcohol addict out of the equation and made it all about, you're at the beach, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, you can do this, you're gonna go here, you're gonna have fun, you're gonna be entertained, you're gonna get deep trauma therapy, you're gonna get whatever it is the customer wants. And they've taken away the one addict helping another. And that's probably why it's been ineffective. And as you know, in America, I'm not the biggest fan of, but in America, in extreme capitalism, whatever is most financially successful is what will be copied. So what I call the Malibu model, that you were a contributor in it happening, is now copied all across the United States. They're in Arizona, they're in Florida, a lot of them in Florida, right? And it's all that one addict, the way I learned it, one alcoholic helping another to achieve sobriety. That thing is
It's too simple, man. It's just too simple. And it doesn't cost anything, and it's not complicated, and there are no, sophisticated studies that prove it works.
I know.
But for guys like you and me, we know it works.
I'm testament to it.
And
you know how people say, if it wasn't for some person, I'd be dead?
Exactly.
If it wasn't for Gloria Scott, I would be dead.
Yeah, I might be too, because she got me into AA.
Did she?
Well, she came and spoke in Cocaine Anonymous.
Right.
Said, you better start going to the AA meetings in Venice.
See, nowadays no one would say that to somebody in AA.
I went to Beyond Baroque, and that's where...
Butting into somebody's business.
That's where you have to relate, you have to connect.
Yeah.
And I think people, when they go to rehab, if they're lucky enough to do that, that's why you need to go to a vibrant treatment center where you've got a flow of people coming in. Because when you can connect with somebody else in a positive way, in a healthy way to get sober, then you have a shot. But if you stay isolated and different and special, and
Yeah.
I have my diagnosis and my therapist. And
I always say the first rehab when I went to Hazelden, I had the most profound. I still remember like 9 of the guys' names and their life stories. I was about as full of shit as a human being can be, and that one addict helping another, that magicalness of what rehab, it needs to come back. And we'll continue conversations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Love you. And that's beautiful. That's a wrap.